Hey, EDU 520, welcome to the start of week 8. I hope everybody had a great week 7. I thoroughly enjoyed looking over your unit plans. There was so much good information. You guys did such a great job on that. And I'm glad to be able to go over those and just give you guys a little bit of feedback on that. But let's get going. Week 8, last week of 520. For many of you, this is the finish of your second class in this program, and you're well on your way. So I want to start again, as I do every week, with the quote. This one is from The Departed. I don't want to be a product of my environment. I want my environment to be a product of me. And I love that quote because it really does kind of emphasize the power we have to change the environment around us, right? And not let, if we're in a negative environment, not let that infect us as much as it can sometimes. I do want to say a big thank you just to be allowed to be a part of your educational journey. It has been a great class, and there have been a lot of great information, and the discussions have been phenomenal, really, really good. And so we are on the last week. Sorry, I'm a little dark, I know, but I'm outside, and there's my green Christmas lights right back there in the backyard. You got to love that. It's a beautiful winter evening here in Northern California, not too cold. But this week, anyway, getting on topic, we're looking at 21st century curriculum design within our American system. A lot of the content has to do comparing American system to different systems throughout the world, whether it's, Canada, and everyone points to Finland, and in just different countries, even some Asian countries. It's definitely a fascinating kind of comparison. Looking at principles for 21st century unit planning, and just a little caveat: 21st century, don't want to talk about it like it's future tense, it's past tense, right? We've been doing 21st century learning for a while now, but the pieces and the principles on how to do that. And then also, once again, looking at formative and summative assessments in relation to your curriculum. 3 videos, and then a chapter, and then chapter 10 in the text. These videos are great. A lot of good information. When you talk about comparing the U.S. versus international, and U.S. and how we can learn from international, and how we can take what we're doing and make it stronger. And so really, let's look at the 2 discussion board questions. The first one, after reading about the different processes in the 5 countries discussed, what insights do you have on our American system? What are we doing well? Where can we improve? And give some examples specifically. Last week of the course, remember that your initial post is due Wednesday, not Thursday. So your initial post is due Wednesday, and your 2 responses are due on Friday, because class is done Friday at midnight. So you want to make sure you get all that information in. Question 2, after watching the 3 videos, what are takeaways in regards to where your specific school stands? So this is your situation in the area of global education. If you're already going that way, global citizen, like my daughter's own school, they call it global citizenship. If you're already moving in that direction, give us some examples, right? And if you're behind the times, what can you do to get your ball rolling? And even if you can only do it in your classroom and influence your classroom, what could you do? So once again, Wednesday and Friday, not Thursday and Sunday, because class is over Friday night. So those are the 2 discussion board posts. And once again, those are bullet pointed out here. Your assignments for the week are your 2 discussion posts and the unit assessment plan. And so let's pop over to that. There's not a rubric on this one. It really just goes through and tells you the parts within this document. So there's not a second document with the rubric, but you're creating an assessment plan to match your unit plan that you just turned in. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take and describe one formative for each lesson. Give me all the information, handouts, rubrics, all that kind of good stuff. Essentially, everything I would need to give that assessment, and then tie it back to the standards. Create a summative assessment for the unit. So one formative assessment for each lesson. So that might be a quiz, that might be a worksheet, that might be a small project, but it's formative. You're giving feedback to those students, versus the whole unit. You need a big summative assessment. It can be paper pencil exam, but definitely give me the answer key. It could be project based, but you need to build the rubric and give me all the good information. And the final part of that is to write just a 1-page Remember to use APA formatting on some of the reflections for the last assignment. That wasn't, was more informal. Make sure you're keeping it within APA style. So what are the roles of your assessments? What's the importance of the various forms of assessments? Ideas and thoughts on backward design, and one thing you've kind of learned, a lesson learned to change moving forward. So that, there's no hard rubric tied to this assessment, but that's what we're looking for. You could look at the rubric for the unit plan, and it's very similar, right? It's just you're kind of changing what you're doing, but the rubric, if you needed a more hard guideline, you can definitely follow that, and that's going to give you some of that information. So once again, week 8, we're finishing up this week. You have the 2 discussion posts, and you have the final unit plan. And then you're done with 520. So finally, I just once again want to thank you guys, and I love this quote. I finish pretty much every class with this quote. You owe the world your gifts. You just have to figure out how to use them. And that's from Uncle Ben in the Amazing Spider-Man movie. And I guess we shouldn't say you owe the world, but the world's blessed because of your gifts. And so just keep working on honing them and trying to figure out how to use them to the best of your abilities. Have a great week 8.